Okay, I was born, okay, in a small town. The name was Clodagh in 1916, September 2nd. As a youngster, I was pretty well off. We were financially pretty settled. However, as with the years progressed, everything changed because we had a very bad break in the business. We lost a lot of money. However, we exist, and I was there. I was helping my father, and I was very active. I was good in business as a youngster. However, when my mother passed away in 1937, and my father remarried, and I was very unhappy. And when I came at the age to go to the army, I would say I volunteered because I was sick and tired staying home. When I went to the army, it was in 1938, and I went, the service was for 18 months. After 17 months being in the service, the war broke out and Hitler attacked Europe, Poland. This was September 2nd, okay, more accurate, September 1st. In September 15th, oh, Joey, give me something to drink, okay. And while in September 15th, I was supposed to be discharged. However, the war broke out September 1, and I was caught in between. After fighting for about 26 days, I was captured as a prisoner of war. I was there for 26 days fighting. And after this, when I was already at the end of the war, and we were supposed to be freed and go home as prisoners. However, this was not like that. All those people who gave up voluntarily, those people had the right to go home. However, those people who were fighting, they stayed over there. And I was from the fighting, and okay, so instead of going home, they sent me to deep Germany for okay, I would say hard labor. However, as soon as the train started to move, I jumped the train, and it took me quite a while. And this was about 50 miles from the house. I could not even. Oh, okay. Oh, see, it's getting dry. Okay. Okay. When I came home, okay. When I came home, and already our city was already occupied by the Germans, and we had a very hard time. And I was there for about 6 weeks, and we were forced to go to work every day, all kind of dirty work, and I could see what's going on, what they did to the Jews. And my father told me himself to get off and go away because I am too old to go. So you save your life, and that's what happened. When I left my city, I had to smuggle out from Poland, and my aim was to go to Russia. The Russians did not let us in, and the Germans did not let us out. However, after suffering about 6-7 days, we finally went past the Russian border. When we came to Russia, this was in about November, the end of November 1939. And we stayed there for quite a while. We had no clothes, no money, nothing, but for we managed. And after staying there for 9 months, Stalin said, all those people who came like the refugees, they have a choice. They can go back home, or if they want to become citizens, they have to go away for 1 year to Rau, and after this, they can become citizens, which was so. But I did not want to stay there because my conscience bothered me. I left my father, two brothers, two sisters. However, and I said I want to go back home. Instead going back home, the management, like Stalin, said, if you are not with us, you are against us. So instead of sending us home, they sent it away in the deep in the north, very cold, and we came over there without a court, and we were sentenced for life to stay there. And our job was to cut trees, and we cut trees not like here, everything by hand. And we stayed there, and we were pretty good off in a way that whatever we worked and we got the money, we could live on it. But naturally we were like the prisoners. Anyway, after 14 months, this was in June 41, when Germany attacked Russia. At that time was an agreement between the exile government in London, this was the Polish exile government. They had an agreement to free all those prisoners. And sure enough, that's how it happened. Instead, we were in the cold climate, so we had a choice to go almost all over wherever we wanted, except 3 cities, Kiev, Moscow, and Leningrad. So we decided to go to Uzbekistan, where it's very warm and it's a beautiful climate. And this was near the Afghanistan border. Okay, over there, after being there for about 3 to 6 months, they told us that we have to go to I would call it like a farm, right? We worked there for about 6 months, and after this, when the war was going on, all those newcomers were mobilized to work in behind of the front, and we were like, we did not go in the front, but we worked for the country. And over there, in 1945, when the war came to an end, so we had the right to be evacuated to go back where we came from, and that's when it happened. I went back to Poland, and I got married over there, and we came to Poland, and in Poland was going on the same thing what we had before, anti-Semitism. They still attacked Jews, and it was in Kells was a pogrom, and the young survivors what survived the ghetto in all those camps were killed in the city was named Kells. Okay, and I stayed in Poland for 9 months. I had a brother in the United States. He left in 1932. When he left this, and he knew that I'm alive because he knew that I was in touch with him while I was in Siberia. However, when all this ends, and we came, when
Get the wire under his arm. And do it again. Take it back.
yes. Okay.
Brother back in 1932. Start there.
Okay. Start 1932. Start with that.
With 19.
32. With your brother.
I see. Oh, I see. My brother was in the United States. He came there in 1932. And sure, we were in touch through the war. And when I was in the army, I wasn't writing to him, and I got something. I even got a letter from him, and $5 was in the letter. Okay. After this, my aim was to come to the United States, because my brother was there, and I was the only survivor. And he insisted, naturally, that I should come to him. And I was at that time in Poland, and from Poland we left Poland in 1941. I'm sorry, in 1940. We left Poland, and we tried to get through the occupied Germany where the American army was. We had a hard time to get there, however we managed. When we came to Germany, I was registered the consul to come to the United States. However, it didn't work out right because the waiting was too long, and my brother got impatient, and he told me, instead of coming to the States, it's possible that I can bring you to Cuba. And that's how it happened. After being there in Cuba, when we left Germany, my mistake was that I didn't realize that I could take an extension from what I was registered already in Germany for 3 years. However, I lost this too, so I started from the beginning. And to make the story short, I stayed there for 3 years, and we came to the United States. Sure, coming here, having a brother like this, my brother's wife is to me a cousin too. We had and they gave us what they could do for us. We came without a language. I came without a profession, and so in the heat in Cuba was for us unbearable. We did not know what air conditioning was. But we stayed there again for 3 years, and we managed. My wife got a job as a Jewish teacher. She could, but I couldn't get a job because in order to get a job, you had to be a citizen. Okay, and I survived. And after 3 years, when we came to the United States, started everything from the beginning. And the minute we came to the United States, I could say that every day when I get up in the morning, I say, God bless America, because they gave us every possible, every possible, we could do anything we want to. We were free, and we appreciated what we had here, the freedom. And so on. Now, this was in 1951, May 20th, when we came to the United States. Okay, what else can I tell you? Tell the story of my life? Well, I came here, we were childless, we had no children. And for some reason, the marriage was not too good after quite a few years. However, I would call myself, I still was, I succeeded because after all, I went in business, and we had a store in a little town for 23 years. And we managed like this. After, in 1908, it was in 2002, we divorced. Naturally, the divorce is not one of the best things. However, especially at this age, when I was 85, it was bad. But now I'm surrounded with a good family, my niece, my niece's daughters, and everybody, even the boys, the husbands, are good to me, and I'm very pleased with it. And naturally, now I'm 88 years old. Yes, I'm very pleased with whatever I have.
Tell me about Clodova.
Ah,
Clodova.
about Clodova. Okay, from the beginning. Okay, I was born in 1916 in Clodova, a little town. It has the population of 4,000 people there. 1,000 were Jewish people and 75% were Christians. Naturally, it was anti-Semitism over there, but we managed like this. And being over there as a youngster, I helped in the house. Like we children in America, a child is an expense. It's a liability. In Poland, children were an asset because we helped out with, making a living. And I was good at it. But that's how the years went by. And when I was 21 years old, I went to the army. And from the army, it already started a new world for me. Everything changed. It was the war, yeah, and especially when I lost everybody from the family. When I left to Russia, I saved my life. But I knew what was going on from the press, from the news, what was going on in Europe, what Hitler did to Jews. Naturally, it was very bad for me. And in 1945, when I came back to Poland, I had nobody left. Everybody is gone. 2 brothers, 2 sisters, father, mother, but and I was the only one. And also I had nieces and nephews. Nobody left. Okay, so I came at that time we also had a house, a beautiful home. But we had 8 tenants, a built home for flights, and we were offered before the war $12,000. It means 60,000 zlotys. Okay, but the people who lived there, when I came back from Europe, from Russia to Clodova, my house was occupied by Polish people. They didn't even let me into the house. And after this, okay, they told me when I went to the city hall and I introduced myself and they knew me, they knew that this is my house, and they told me, if you want to stay here, we will give you an apartment over there, and people have to move out because it's yours. Or if you want to leave, you have the right to sell it. Instead of selling it, I would say I would give it away because they knew that I cannot do anything with it. So I sold it for $250, which was the house was worth $12,000. But the people knew that I wouldn't stay there because there was nobody left. And for me, it was a cemetery. The synagogue wasn't, the cemetery, everything was destroyed. Okay, so this was when I left Clodova. When I came back from Roshmikowit in 1945, when I did come back, I could see I have no existence anymore in Poland, so that's when I left. Okay. Yes, there were quite a few survivors from the older survivors were mostly people like in 1939, they saw what's going on, they ran away to Russia. It was occupied at that time, and they received us, at least, no matter how bad it was, but our life in Russia was never in danger. So we survived the war. I could say thanks to the Russian government. Okay. Naturally, if I would, I could talk and talk and talk about that because it's easy to say it, but whatever he did, whatever we accomplished was not so easy because every time when we crossed the border, our life was in danger. But we managed, especially now. At that time, I was 22 years old. We could do it, right? Okay. What else can I say?
Now, what about, you lived in Germany too, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
That
Yeah.
was,
Ah,
were they
okay,
good to you,
okay,
bad?
yeah, okay. In Germany, I was there, and I came to Germany in 1945. In the end of 1945, we stayed there for 3 years in 1948. We had a hard time. Also, we could not work, and we survived. My brother helped me quite a lot, and we also got some help from the joint in Hayas. And after 3 years, when my brother was insisting that I should leave Germany, and I went to Cuba. We came to Cuba again in 1948, May 20th, and we started a life from the beginning. No money, no language, no people we knew. I didn't even know there was a Jewish committee over there, but it was. And we stayed there for 3 years. My wife got a job, and with the help also from my brother. And that's how we survived the 3 years till we came to the United States. Okay? Now, that's true, it started everything from the beginning, as I mentioned it before, that in Germany, here, I worked, and I saved money, whatever we could, and we bought a house in 1960, and in 1957 we also went in business. I bought a little store at 5 and 10. We managed, we made a living. It was not a big business, but it was good enough. We could pay the bills, we could live, and that's all.
So where did you live in Germany? What city?
Frankfurt am Main. I lived there for 3 years. How did we live there? They gave us a room with a German family. Okay, and that's how we lived over there. I would say the German we lived with were very nice to us because there were so many German people, nice people too. Okay, and they were very friendly. They were very good to us. But after 3 years, when we came here, yes, this I would do mention. When we came to Malden in 1951, it was very hard to get an apartment. Money was no problem, but it was just not enough. But we did get a room, a nice apartment. After 6 years, we did buy our own house. And naturally, at that time, it was for us a big thing to have our own place. Okay, and now, now what I could say, when after divorce, I left the house, and I went to live in I would call it like a house for elderly people.
Okay.
I was very pleased. Now I'm very pleased to live there, and especially again I have to say, okay, with all my relatives around, I feel wonderful with them. They are absolutely good to me, and I couldn't ask for anything better. But right now I'm 88 years old, and we live now from day to day. Sure, I have some of my drawbacks. I have a little problem with my health. I had what's called a hearing problem, a vision problem, but I'm around and I'm pleased. I still drive the car, and I still have my mind. Okay.
And your brother David, tell me about, because you always say, tell me,
About my brother David.
2 days before the war
Okay, yes.
was over.
Okay,
So tell me
I have I had a brother, he was in the army. This is a good point. He was in the army also fighting Hitler. And with him was something unbelievable what happened. When the war was over, he was blonde, so he could go as a Gentile. And that's how he saved his life, as a Gentile. And he was working for 4 years in a German farm, and he had pretty good. But by the end, there was a Pole. and he squealed on him that he is Jewish. In 2 days before the army came in, the German army came in, they killed him. This one brother. The other brother was also, he was the second after the oldest. He was he was in the war, but they did let him go home because he was married and he had 2 children. But after, when they start to liquidate the people who lived in towns, they made ghettos for them, and after a while they sent them away to concentration camps, and they stayed there as long as they could work. And by the end, when they stopped working, they couldn't work anymore, they killed them. And when I came back to Poland, at that time, I knew where my parents perished, and we went over there. This wasn't.
Where was that?
This was the city. It was Chełmno, Chelmon, Chełmno, and over there we were just shown where they were gassed and they were burned over there. This was in Chełmno, okay, you know.
And your brothers and sisters too, or just your mother and father?
Okay, the mother, my mother died in 1937,
Oh,
and my father remarried about 1939. I was not home anymore because I was in the army, and after the army I left Poland, okay, but I knew in 1942 when everybody perished and there were many survivors, I do know my sister was a very strong people, a healthy person. When they first they gassed them, and after they buried them, but when my sister was still alive, after all those, gassing her, so now that they burned her alive. This was the sister. The father, I do know, was also, all the surrounding people were buried over there, were killed over there. It was a little forest, and they drove over there. They had, a little train, and over there, when they took them from one place to the other, they were in a truck, and they put in the gas over there, and that's how they perished. So naturally, we were there, and it was not the best picture for us. But time heals. But I am now, even now, and it's true, I still have nightmares that I'm punished, I'm killed by the Germans and this and this and this, after so many years, okay? They did give us some money, some compensation for what we lost, but this did not warm me, okay? Because, I know I was left all by myself except my brother. Good enough that I have such a good family surrounding me. Okay, this is from the brother side. That's true. My brother and my sister were married in Poland, and they had already small children. My brother had 2 children, and my sister had 2 children. None survived. All of them perished. Okay.
so your Bela was your real mother, right?
Yes.
Bela. And then
But-
the second mother you never met.
Pardon?
the
I
sec-
did meet
Oh,
her.
you did.
Oh, I did meet the stepmother.
Yes.
Yes, I did meet
was
my
she?
stepmother.
What was her name? I don't remember.
I don't know. I know one child was Shulamit, and one child was Samuel Shmulek from the kids. Okay? For some reason, I did not enjoy being. I would not enjoy being with my my stepmother, and I left Poland, and that's what when I came back, everything was gone. Everything was gone at the time.
And you were saying your ex-mother and father asked you to take care of him?
Who?
Your
Yes, Jurek is when I left Poland, I was already after the army. I had more experience in my life, so I had a cousin over there, my mother's a nephew, and I took him with him, and I gave my hand to them, and I gave my word that I will watch him and I will take care of him. And that's how it was. We were 3 people like this. This was my cousin and another boy. We were together, struggled all the years, and we survived the war.
Who
And
was
now,
the other boy? Yurik, who was the other one? Yurik, and who else?
Yuri,
And who else?
who else? Oh, this was a friend of mine. Okay, I know his name too. His name was Henrik Nijhuis. In fact, he survived, and he lived in Israel. And for some reason, he died early. He got a sickness, and he died. And my cousin Yurik is very successful. You know, we are very close with him. He lives in New Jersey now, and I live in Massachusetts. Hey, again, now, by the end, I everything managed to give to my, to give the authority, the first word of authority, wait a second. Okay, in other words, as of now, my niece is going to take care of everything what happens to me. And I did the best I could for the sisters, for the 2 sisters, for the mother, out at home.
I
Now
didn't know there were 2 sisters. I thought 1 sister.
we had
Another one?
2
Rachel.
sisters, 1 sister. The other sister was from the new marriage.
Oh, okay.
The new marriage. Okay, she was a child baby.
Right.
Right, so that's
Do you
what.
know her name?
I think I did know. Shulamit,
Shalamit?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure,
Okay.
but yes.
Okay.
Okay, so in fact, I never met the baby
Okay.
because I was already gone at that time. Yeah. You know, that's what I could add more. Some things like even through the war, it was a hard time to make a living for them. So the brother and my sister, they were married, and they left Klodava, and they went to a city, Danzig. This was an international city, okay? And they lived over there, but the anti-Semitism there, because it was mostly German.
Yeah.
It was unbearable, and it came at times they had to leave about before it broke out. The war broke out. They left already this city of Danzig.
That's where up by the port where the water is? Like where Lech Walesa,
That's what it is.
Yeah.
This is.
what do they call it now?
It was. Right,
I know.
right, well, I mean, what is
That's
that?
solidarity and everything.
Okay, it was Gdynia,
Gdansk
Well,
or something? Gdansk?
Gdańsk,
Yeah.
Gdańsk,
Yeah.
you see? Gdańsk,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
In Gdańsk, in Gdynia was also next to it.
Right.
That's right, but they lived in Gdańsk,
Right.
in Polish.
Right.
Danzig was in
German.
German.
Yeah.
That's right,
Right.
Gdańsk,
In the Duma.
okay. How do you,
I read. I didn't read.
yeah,
it.
Gdynia, Gdańsk, Gdańsk.
No. Didn't you live in Bialystok?
Oh, of course.
Tell me. about that.
Okay, when we left Poland, my father insisted I should not stay near the border. He wanted me to go to deep, to Russia. However, we got stuck and we lived in Białystok for 9 months because that's where we got the news that Stalin wanted to know either we want to go back or we want to stay. And this was where we're in Białystok. And after being 9 months in Białystok, that's what had happened. They took all those people who sent us away. This was in Białystok. We lived there. Okay.
But you also lived in Kiev. In Kiev.
Huh?
Kiev.
Kiev.
You lived in Kiev too.
This is, my wife
That
comes
too?
from Kiev.
Oh, okay.
Yes, she is Kiev. Okay. You know, as far as I know, she lost the father and the mother too, and there were 4 sisters. 3 sisters evacuated, but the youngest died. They killed her. Okay, in Babi Yar in Kiev. This was a well-known place. Okay. Okay.
Some water. know.
Okay, take your time.
Now, do you remember your grandparents, Mordecai and Rivka? Your
Okay.
grandparents.
Yes.
Do you remember them?
Yep.
Did they? Your grandparents.
My grandparents,
Yeah,
of
tell me
course
about
I remember them.
Tell me about them.
My mother, this was my mother has a father and a mother. I knew them. they, they lived in the same city. They died after late good age, both. And the father had a mother and a father. Mother's name was Rivka, and the father's name was Mordechai. Father, they had 5 children. The 5 children were my father, there was a brother Michael, and a brother Aaron, and a brother David. They had also one sister, which she perished in a fire. Her name was Yocheved Rechel. And that's true. The 3 brothers came, except my father stayed in Poland, and those 3 brothers came to the United States. And they lived here, and that's true, they died already. In fact, they died at not a late age, but they died. And my father had 5 children, like me and my brothers, and all gone, except my brother who lived in the United States. Okay?
So when the Sender's brothers, they came to the U.S. when? Michael and David and Aaron.
Right.
When did they come to the United States?
Because I can tell you, yeah.
Okay.
Like Mama at that time. I think this was in 1912.
1912.
Of course.
Early.
Of course. Mama came here, she
Yes.
was 8 years old.
Right.
Mama came. Yes, they came. We had more, the family was bigger. We had also from my mother's side, my mother's side had also a brother and a sister in the United States. And my mother had also a brother in Poland, in a small town it's called Izbica. Okay, all those are from Poland, all perished. Okay, but the brothers from my mother's sister had all those people in the United States, and they had her name was Frida Joyce,
Yes.
and they had
So she was in the Freda was in the United States.
Frida was in the United
Okay.
States. Frida was in the United States, and the what we call it, that's all from the mother side.
Okay. And then there was, who was Yurik's? Yurik's father was her sister?
My mother had 3 brothers.
3 brothers.
One brother, Yechiel, Julius, in the United States,
Right.
and 2 brothers were in Poland. This was my uncle Avrum, and uncle Duvet.
Okay.
And
So they,
this was, yes,
In
they
Poland.
were having those 2 people, those 2 brothers were in Poland. Okay.
they live in Kladova? Or?
No, one brother was in Klodov.
Yeah.
And Yurik's brother, in fact, worked for us all the time. Because we had a little factory which we manufactured clothes. And we were pretty successful till, I would say, about till the mid-30s. What happened? If you want to know that, my father, we had one sister, and the old country was still a dowry.
Dowry, yes.
Okay, and my father had at that time saved up for my sister a good dowry, and he lent the money to somebody, to a Christian. He was a very nice man, and for some reason this man had something illegal doing over there, and he was in jail, and all our money was gone. Okay, and sure, this was also by the end of the war. We had a hard time with our business too. It failed. We had a good business, to about in mid-30s. But after this was already gone. So we had a struggle to make a living. So, and that's where I left in 1939. And that after this the war broke out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Was Mordecai?
But
Were they from Kladova too, or they came from somewhere else?
Mordechai.
Mordecai and Rivka, were they all from Kladova or somewhere else?
Oh, Pshaich too.
Shaich.
Okay, this was the, okay, this was the mother, the, wait a second, Zijde Mordechai. Yeah, this wasn't Zijde Mordechai, has relatives too. This was a nearby city, 5 miles up from our city, but the name was Pshaich. Okay,
Yes.
okay. And they died at the, okay, they were elderly people. Boberivka was 94 years old. And by Zijde was about, the late 80s. Okay. I think I talked enough.
Good?
Yeah?
For now, it's a lot.
Do you have a bathroom top here?
What's that? Bathroom stuff?
No, the bathroom. Oh, I see. That would be this room. And they had about 6, 7 children. And they were, how,
Put the microphone in.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
All right, we'll start from the beginning.
That's okay.
This way? How do you do it?
Just clip it off.
It's all right if it's upside down?
Yes.
Okay. You see,
Oh, wait, we gotta do it under. Right, come in.
okay.
Do this under. Oops.
The right spelling from Psedetsky is absolutely good, but instead of the S, should be a nar. But
Okay,
you see,
okay.
that's right. No,
Okay.
that is really Psedetsky, but in Polish,
Sit this way so we can look through.
Okay.
Okay. See, it's true. This is Psedetsky,
Over here.
but the Polish grammar was RZ. In Polish was so complicated. There's an RZ, and there's a Z, and there's a Sz. Okay, but this
How do you like
Jarachowski,
this guy?
okay, this Jarachowski, how come that this is here?
He wrote the information down about your family.
I see.
Yad Vashem.
Yad Vashem, right.
He
I
wrote
see.
the pages about
I
your
see.
family.
So this is your
Yad
mother's
Vashem.
stepmother, your grandmother's,
Stepmother.
Mindu's, yeah,
Okay.
Esther's stepmother, because Mindu died, so she married Jarachowski.
Oh, so that's her husband.
So, wait a second, he married, not she, he. Mindu died,
Right.
so Uncle, that was his name was, what his name was, father, Duvet. Duvet married a Jarachowski. The woman is a Jarachowski, yes. Klodava, see, Jarakowski, see, okay, see, in the English does not have the word ha.
Right.
And this is Jarachowski. In this you read Jarakowski, even like, you understand me? You do not have an aha.
Right.
You cannot say Michał, but a Halle.
Right.
In Poland was a CH, is a ha.
Okay.
Like the Russian don't have the word H. Not a word H.
Right.
Okay, it is, okay. So, but the Americans haven't got the ha. So their name was Jarachowski.
Okay.
But this is the closest, what she wrote down,
Okay.
Jarachowski.
So do you know who Yaakov is? Yaakov?
Huh?
Yaakov Yarakowski.
The name, Jarakowski.
Who's Yaakov?
It is here.
Right. How about this? Who is this?
Oh, Yaakov.
Her brother or something?
Yaakov.
Her brother?
Oh, that's what I want to say.
Okay.
Oh. From the big Jarachowskis, one survivor was one boy it was Yannick, Yakov. He helped me sell the house. He was, you know, the agent.
That was the brother of Mama's stepmother?
This is Jaruchowski is, you see, this had nothing, this Jaruchowski was, Jaruchowski's a nephew, I would say.
Okay.
You see, right?
Ah, his nephew.
I see.
Okay.
Przodecki Baila, female, 1897, married, Alexander in Klodowa, Koło, Łódź, Poland. See, this is okay, Klodowa, page, testimony, Jaruchowski, Yakov, relative, that's right. Okay, this, he just died recently in Israel. Okay, okay. You see, this is what I told you in the car. Oh, the survivors. There were about 15 or 20 survivors in the United States, because I went once with Mama and Daddy. They had it in they call it the landslide in Klodowa.
Yeah, Klodowa Society.
Right,
Yeah, in New York.
in New York,
Yes.
right? And okay, but he went to Israel, this Yaakov.
Yeah.
You know, it's so interesting about these Jaruchowskis. They were so strong. They were in the. Oh, I see.
Dad,
Okay. Oh, that's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Okay, it said Judy, you see,
Yes.
this is the mistake. It says Yurek died.
I know. I saw that.
They said
I know.
you can write down
Yes.
instead of Yurek, the other one died. He had two brothers,
Oh, we had two
was
brothers?
Henrik and Menashe.
Oh, those were his brothers.
Menashe got killed on the front and fighting. And Henrik died in the concentration camps. See, all you have to do is that's not Yurek. I said, that's what Yurek told me. I see, oh, very. See, how to pronounce and recognize your Polish town and family names. Oh. That's what I said, you know more than I do. Drohobycz, Kraków, Radom. Where did you get this?
Somebody gave it to me.
Oh, somebody gave it to you. I see. Helm. Okay. Kraków, Nowy Sącz, Mazowiecki, Przemyśl, Będzin, Katowice. I see. Łódź, Lwów, Kraków. Gdynia. See, there is Gdynia here. Gdynia. And there is Gdańsk.
Yeah.
That's where you get Gdańsk, yes. Kalisz, Bydgoszcz, Lwów, Kuźnic, Szczecin. Oh, Lovich. That's where they caught me as a prisoner in Lovich. Lovich was 50 miles from Klodowa, was 80 kilometers. Okay, Wieliczka, Chełmcin, Chełm. Jarosław, Kolomia, Łódź, Białystok, Gdańsk, Poznań. Poznań is where we, see, I was in the army in the same city with Papa, in the same city. I came there 10 years later, okay. In fact, when I came, it's good, you should at least know, when when we were mobilized, they gave us the cities where to go. So when I came to, the city was at that time Września, where we served. When I came to Września, first of all, when I told they had the name Przodecki, my brother, Menashe, Papa, was there. When I walked in and I introduced, they said, you know, they have my list of the name. Oh, Tip Pshedetsky, you are Pshedetsky? Wait a second, doctor. Didn't you have a brother here 10 years ago? Yes. He was an officer. He was my secretary. Okay, so this was it was the same city. Ravarushka, very. It's just unbelievable. Gazette. Letter from President.
What's that? Oh yeah, that. No, let me see. What
Okay,
that was.
so this here is
That's
date of birth. I see.
Now that's all your family. I have all the people and where they died.
I see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it says, you know, Chumno.
Hmm.
Oh, careful. Oh, there goes the microphone.
Which one is this? What is it?
This is
Helmno.
Yeah.
You know what it is?
Yeah. Yes, I do. That's Sender.
This is where they were killed.
Right. Yes.
Geone Polen, that's what I said.
So Michael Books.
Michael Brooks,
Michalaba.
Galabba,
He wrote it
and a
down.
nephew. I see, Mary. Psh. You see? This is the right spelling.
Right. Oh, Z.
See, I told you, R-Z.
Right.
Pshedetsky. See, here at C would be T-Z.
Right. TZ. Yes.
Okay. Włocławek was, Pshedec. Pshedec.
Church.
Pshedec.
Yeah.
Ah. See, that's why the name comes, Pshedetsky.
Yes, I know.
See?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was here, Boeberivke, Zuidermorgen. That's what I told you. Okay, Sender, Beerivke, male, Pshedek. She was in 1872. So, okay, of course, 1872. And she died in 1932. 1870, it was 30. No.
Yeah, I think some of the dates.
Yeah,
are
it's not important. I know it. Okay. Oh, I know she died. No, okay.
It's 94.
You know, Papa used to tell, at that time, Papa was supposed to, when he left Poland, in the Buber, Rivka, the grandmother, everything she was dying. Okay. So the father, Menashe, Papa told the Buber, wait another 2-3 days before, don't go before. This Buber Rivka was a character.
Yeah, tell me about her.
Huh?
Tell me about her.
Very. Okay.
Just tell me about.
About the Buberivka. Okay. Buberivka was a very religious person. And if she did not like somebody, you better get out from there because she was a character. So we had working, for us were working 2 pretty girls. So Buberivka said, she saw it. She was having sex in public. Dus Buberivka said it so. And this was going on and on and on. I'm telling you, she couldn't get along with people. That's all. But Buberivka, when I had no mama, my mother was sick. This is what she said. My mother was sick. She was, paralyzed. Okay. And all I want to say, if she would have a wheelchair, it would have been solved the problem, because I was the youngest. Okay, see, I interrupt another things. I sidetrack, tick. Okay, so Buberivka died in 1932, around that time. Zuidermorgen was a man who could be a rabbi. He was a scholar. He could tell the whole Bible by memory, because he naturally, the eyes and the hearing was gone. But this was the Buberivka. Zuidermorgen was just the opposite from her, a gentleman, a fine man. Okay, Weet, dus Boeba Rivka. The Boeba Rivka had a stepbrother too. His name was Menachem. Also lived not far away. Okay. Oh, Zaida Mordechai had a brother. Also, Abshadetsky. He lived in Ozerkov. His name was Zida. Okay, Lynchets. Okay. But those.
So you were going to talk about the Israelis.
Pardon?
The Israelis.
Oh, Israeli. Okay. We had a big family in Israel. The was Michalaba's 2 children, was Eliezer and Samada, not Samada. Yes. Samada? No. She was here.
Tzlila.
Tzlila. Oh, God love you. Okay, I keep forgetting. Tzlila and Eliezer. And Tzlila had 2 children. One was the daughter's name was Samadar, and the boy's name was, I keep forgetting the names. He was over there. It was a boy and a girl. And Mechalaba, this is from Mechalaba side, Rivne Yeschik had 2 sons. He survived the war, and in Russia, one boy's name was Eliezer, and the other boy from Mordechai. Okay. And those 2 boys live in, and also they had a sister. Now those 2 boys have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, and the other boy had 3 boys who lived at the Buxers in Israel. And this is going on. Now they have already great grandchildren. Okay.
So you said these were Yocheved Rachel's
Rachel,
children? Yocheved Rachel.
Yocheved Rachel,
Those were her children?
her children.
Grandchildren.
Yocheved Rachel was her children. Because in how she perished, it's Yocheved. It was a candle, something lighting, and then she got caught something, and she perished. You see, about my mother, I would say something. She was having such a hard life because she did not have what we have now. A wheelchair. When she had to go from one, we lived about 6 rooms. When she had to go from one room to the other, she needed 2 people.
You can sit on this side. Sorry.
She needed 2 people to move. And how many times, that's what I tell you. Okay, and how many times, and I was the youngest, we had no bathroom in the house, she used a potty. So sometimes when nobody was around, I was the only one who helped us to walk. It was a hard time. Okay. Also, what happened to her, my father was well off at that time, and he took her to Germany to a professor. And the professor predicted that this is incurable, what she had a sickness, with a stroke, we call it a paralysis. Okay, so she was living in the house, and she had to take bath, and not like a bath like you have. We had to bring the water, boil the water. She had a big veranda. Okay. And the doctor predicted, with the time she will lose speak, she wouldn't be able to speak. Only people like we were with her could understand her. And this was one night when my father was not home, and I was in the house, and during the night, evidently she fell out of the bed. And she fell out, and evidently that time I was asleep. I could not do anything. I did not know. Okay. Evidently she got a bad cold that time, and this was the end of it already. That's how she died. Okay. So, naturally, if we will start, Judy, this was no end. This is just, pick a few things. If I would tell you, like we survived when we left Poland and we had to leave, I told you the Germans did not let us out and the Russians did not let us in. So they were about a mile and a neutral piece of land. So over there we stayed there for about 8 days because they did let, if there were a lot of people already there, they opened the gates, go. When they pass. Okay, so everything is easy to say, but to be there, not true. I couldn't do it that time. I could do it now, but at that time, okay, and this was no. Okay, and there's so many things. When we came to Russia, after when they sent it away to work in the forests, I never in my life had an ex, and I did not know. So from those 3 people, Jurek was with me and another one, the third boy. The third boy, instead, hitting the tree. Okay, okay. And he, not only this, he was a mama's child. Jurek was a mama's child too, but the other one was a very rich child. He never heard of this. First of all, I was 2 years older than Jurek and 3 years older than the other one. So I had more experience in my life. And the main thing over there was to get food. How do we get food? We stole, we begged, we did certain things which was impossible to do to survive. Okay? However, it was a time when we moved from when we were, they took us, they took us to the army, not the army, it was the code on the back. We worked for them, mobilized at the word. When we were mobilized, so at that time started already better because my Jurek and the other one worked in a restaurant. And to work in a restaurant at that time, it means the existence. Okay, naturally, and I was also working already in a place we gave out the food for the restaurants. So naturally, we were ready, food was no problem anymore. Okay, but it's very interesting. We survived. To give you an idea, when we were freed from the camps, they sent us, we went from one extreme, from north to south. We had north cold, so we went to the Afghanistan border, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. This was, near the border, which was all the time warm. However, when we were there, food was, for 6 months, we worked in a farm. Not what we didn't have bread, we didn't even see it. So whatever we ate is something, we were swollen up after this. When they pressed out for the oil, so it was left over, the oil was gone, but what was left, what they pressed, like in a press, we ate it. And from this made us swollen up. Okay, we had eye problems in the woods. We had eye problems because we did not have enough vitamin, like onion. We did not have an onion. We did not have these things. So came at night, we didn't see well. Okay, but yeah, when we left the camp, and we sent us away. And the camp was so bad, when we came to the camp, we had no food. So we wrote, we wrote a letter back to them that we want to go back to the camp because there was food there. Okay, that's who it did not, we did not do it because I don't know at that time, but it was how bad. But after being 6 months, at that time already we had already enough food, not legally. Here we call it a businessman. Over there they were speculanti, speculate, right? Okay. And in 1945, we left the Russians for good. And up to now, for some reason, I have a soft spot for Russian people because they really gave us our life. Mhm. We did go back in 1970 to Russia, and then with Lena. She had two sisters there, so we went over there for 2 weeks. And after this, the sisters came here, they're over here. Okay.